Yes, I said what I said. Some people are just inarguably useless. Like, have you ever met someone, or do you have someone in your life that they're this kind of people that all they do is get into debt, borrow money, and every time that they have their hands on money, that all they do is they drink and they get themselves into drugs. Like, this kind of people, they're always causing chaos for everyone, and they're just always causing drama. Like, all the time you have to keep on getting them out of trouble. Like, they have issues with the authority, with just everyone. Like, this kind of people who are honestly a burden to others. And I feel like we're usually a little bit we are afraid to admit that there are people who are actually useless in our society. So welcome to the House of Archons. My name is Lady Marichu, and I help people step into their power. So you see, about 3 years ago, I was one of these useless people. So this is what happened, right? After I finished my high school, there's nothing that I was doing, there's nothing that I got into that I finished. Like, for example, so when I finished, I started CPAs. I didn't finish them. You know, those accounting stuff, business accounting stuff. And then I went to university. After, in my first year, second semester, I I quit. I didn't want to do it anymore, and then I went to do some online job, but I didn't. I got out before the business actually started giving me returns, and then I started going to music school, but I didn't finish because, well, it's expensive. And at that time, it was really difficult for my mom to like pay music classes fees because she was all alone. My dad had passed on like a year and a half before. So I ended up at home completely depressed. I had no energy to do anything at all. Like, I couldn't even get out of bed on some days. So my mom had to actually hire someone to come and do cleaning, and I was there. So around that time, my mom hires someone to be coming and doing the cleaning, washing clothes, cook, and whatever. Now, I have a younger brother, like really small. At that time, he was like a year and a half old or 2 years old, I don't remember. And so what would happen is that when my mom got up in the morning to go to work, she would bring my brother so that we can sleep with him until tuendelee tu kulala mpaka maybe 9 or 10 when it's time to get up. So this particular day, now we are just asleep. Now this bitch that had been hired, guess what? She steals everything. She's okay, not everything. Like, she steals a lot of stuff, and I'm inside the house and I don't even notice. Like, even unaona venye mtu you hang sling bags at the side of the bed. Like, she came to my room and she stole money that was in my purse, and I didn't even hear. Like, she stole my mom's shoes, she stole shopping, she stole my baby brother's clothes. Me, I didn't even notice. So like around lunchtime, when my mom, because my mom usually go home for lunch, so she comes and, well, me I thought, me I didn't even ask. When we woke up and she was not around, me I just told my mom the lady is not around. It's like I didn't even, so I was so clueless. I didn't even notice that anything had been stolen. So my mom comes home and she's like, huyo lazima alienda na vitu kwa nyumba. So see, she's checking shopping, and a lot of stuff have been stolen. Like, alibeba vitu zenye angeweza kubeba, like mafuta, sijui rice, you know, shopping, shoes and whatever. And I remember my mom being so disappointed. She was so heartbroken. And then I was there. Like, how is your house robbed and you're in the house? Like, do you even have an excuse for that? Like, I felt so bad about myself. Like, my purse was right there beside my, and I didn't even hear. I was asleep. Like, things were just stolen and I was there. So I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, I am so useless. And I was. Like, one thing about me is that I am brutally honest with myself. Like, I don't lie to myself. Because at that time, I was not being useful to anyone, not even to myself, not even to my mom. And mark you, I'm a firstborn child. Now, guys, let me tell you something. Being useless is not directly proportional to your value as a human being. Like, you can be very smart, but useless. You can be incredibly talented, but useless. You can be incredibly creative, but useless, because at that time, because I think that I'm a very smart person. I think that I have a good head on my shoulders. I'm very reasonable. But at that time, I was very useless because I was not doing anything that is useful to anyone else. I was not even being good for myself. Like I was doing nothing with my life. And so when you find yourself at that situation, if you have a feeling that you're a useless person, if you feel like people don't value you too much, they don't value you at all, it's probably because you're useless. It's probably because, you know, this whole conversation about what do you bring to the table, you're probably bringing nothing to the table. So how do we solve that? Now this is where this video comes in. It is learning how to increase our value, increasing your value as a human being. Number one, be honest with yourself. Okay, be brutally honest with yourself. Like, we don't want to become these people who are very blockable. Unajua kuna mtu unaweza tu delete namba yako because you know this person is not going to help me with anything. They don't want to be that person. Unataka kuwa mtu mwenye mtu atafikiria mara mbili kabla hata delete namba yako because anajua mtu anaweza nisaidia mahali. Like, don't be a person who no one even comes to you for advice. No one even asks your opinion on anything. Kwa sababu vitu zenye zinatoka kwa mdomo yako, you don't help anyone with anything. Here in this channel, we are not aiming to be that kind of person. So if you feel like you're not bringing anything to anyone's table, if you feel like you're not even good enough, be honest with yourself. And then step number 2 is taking up a responsibility. Because at that moment, when I had that thought, okay, I am very useless right now, what do I do? So first of all, I had to ask myself, is this the kind of person that I want to become? And I was like, no. So first thing I did was take responsibility for myself, because at that time, I think I had turned 20 years old, and I'm like, I'll take up a job. And fast forward 3 years, right now, you see, now I am independent, like, you know, one mouth less for my mom to feed, and like, I buy my siblings stuff. Like, I don't borrow my mom, anyone at all, for money. Like, you know, like, I've started a YouTube channel that I've always wanted to start from Kitambo, you know. Like, step number two, take responsibility for something. First of all, for yourself, and then for something out in the world. If you see a gap somewhere in the business world, anywhere, go take responsibility and be the person to fill that gap. And then step number 3 is to learn. Yes, how do you increase your value? You learn how to, you learn a skill, you learn how to do something, you learn a language, you know, you create something that is useful for someone else, or you say things that are useful for other people, like me in this video. You know, just be someone, be somebody that is useful to other people. Learn, read books, listen to podcasts. So if you want to be respected, you have to increase your value as a person, because whether we like it or not, our relationships and people gauge us by what we bring to the table. That's how we are valued by other people. And you know what? What is the purpose of being alive if you're not being useful to anyone? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, go out there and do something, be something, you know, dare to be someone, be useful. Anyway, that's all I had for you today, you guys. Please remember to subscribe, like, and tell me what you think about this whole topic in the comment section. I'd really love to hear your thoughts.